Hi guys, my name is D. Alumalia and I'm one of the registered migration agents here with Visa Simply. And guys, today what I would love to talk with you is about Victoria Government 2022-23 Skill Migration Visa Nomination Program. Victoria State has got big numbers this year, one of the biggest numbers in terms of like subclass 190 and subclass 491 allocations. So yes, we getting hundreds and hundreds of inquiries in terms of Victoria State Government. So guys, in this particular video, I would more like to talk about the requirements of Victoria Government and what Victoria Government is specifically looking to sponsor people on 491 and 190 visas. I would not be specifically discussing about the requirements for basic requirements for 491 visa or 190 visa, though I believe you all understand, you've been living here, and if you are onshore you do understand what 49 visa and 190 visa is. And if you don't guys, I'm gonna leave a link for 1491 visa and 190 visa on the bottom in this video, and you can go through that link and then go through the specific requirements for 491 visa and 190 visa. So again, coming back to the topic, let's talk about what does Victoria government has done this year and how are things are looking in terms of getting state sponsorship from Victoria in this physical year. Now, the first thing guys, that takes what I have is, first of all, it's this year it's also open for overseas applicants. So if you're living outside Australia, you can apply for this. Now, in terms of onshore applicants, generally speaking, you can make your nomination, you can apply for it, but at the time of the nomination, you should be living in Victoria. So if you're applying for 190 subclass, or if you've selected 190 subclass and you selected Victoria, you should be living in Victoria. And if you have selected 491 subclass, then you should be living in Victoria in a designated 491 area, and you should also be working, and your employer should also have a business in that designated area. Then only you would be eligible to apply for 491 visa. Now guys, for those who are living in Victoria and who submitted their ROIs last year or last physical year, you would need to redo it again and you need to submit a fresh ROI. Okay. If you guys have any confusions, feel free, give a call to our office, and my office, I would be more than happy to have a consultation with you and help you out with that. Now, on the next step, what else guys? Now the ROIs, you can, for this physical year, you can apply up till 5th of May 2023. But in my opinion, if you are eligible, if you're meeting the criteria, don't waste your time, lodge your ROI now. Now, to lodge your ROI, you would need to have your full skill assessment, and you would also need to meet all other requirements on subclass 491 or 190, depending upon what visa subclass you are applying for. Now, though all occupations can apply for ROI now, but if you really look at it, there's also a guidelines on which there are some occupations groups which are prioritized by Victoria State Government because there's a high demand of those particular occupations in the state. So healthcare, social services, any of those occupations, doesn't matter what, either you're applying 491 or 190, they are prioritized. Any occupations which fall under STEM, which is basically science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they are prioritized. Any advanced manufacturing, digital or innovation economy, and any occupations in regards to advanced manufacturing, digital or innovation, stuff like that, that's also prioritized. Now guys, if you have an occupation of chef, cook, accommodation, hospitality managers, that's also prioritized, but it is only in 491 regional areas. So what it means is, you would need to live and work in a 491 regional area, then only your occupation would be prioritized. But that doesn't mean you would not be able to apply for any other occupations, or you can't look for any other occupations. Now, they would, in terms of the ROI selection, the Victoria State Government would be looking into factors: English, level of English. So you can always improve your level of English. Hypothetically, if you have like 6.5 each, you are eligible, but if you can get 7 each, it's much better. It gives you extra points, and of course, it will push you up in terms of the selection criteria. All right. Now, years of experience in your nominated occupation, that's also been looked into. Education and your occupation skill level, where what your skill level is. Also looked into your partner skill, so it is always very critical. If you have a partner, they have, if you can get their full skill assessment, and also they sit for their IELTS. That's also very important, and that's also looked into it. And also the major and the very important factor which has come in, the Victorian state government is also looking into the salary onshore candidate, but that only applies to onshore candidates. So if you are an onshore candidate, generally speaking, if you're living in Victoria and then you're applying for subclass 190 or 491, then they would look into your your salary, and that's also one of the criteria. So yeah, it sounds, but yeah, if your salary is, if you have a higher salary, your chances of getting selected would be definitely higher, and you'll get a first preference than the ones who have the lower salary. That's how it is. Now, in terms of do you need to work in your nominated occupation? See, if you're applying for subclass 190, all right, doesn't matter whether you are onshore or offshore, you are not required to be working in your nominated occupation. You must have valid skill assessment in your nominated occupation, and your nominated occupation must be on eligible skill occupation list. All right. Now, in terms of 491 visa, if you are onshore, you must be currently living in the nominated area 491, and you also would need to work in the nominated area 491. Now, in terms, if you are applying for 491 and if you are offshore, that it doesn't matter and does not count. It's fine. You do not need to. Now, also remember one thing. Now, in terms of when you are onshore, you are not required to be working in your nominated occupation. You must have skill assessment in your nominated occupation, and your nominated occupation should also be on an occupation list. But you do not need to work in your nominated occupation. Now, if you are, but also remember one thing: when you are calculating your points, your occupation skill level should be on ENSO skill level list 1, 2, or 3. So if your occupation is on level 4, it would not be considered. In the further video, I'm gonna go to the next step. That's where I will explain you what occupations and what sort of occupations are considered and what sort of occupations are not considered. So hypothetically, if you're working on skill level 4 occupations, for example, if you're doing Ubering, or if you're a truckie, occupation like these, cleaners, laborers, social media advertising, machine operators, drivers, these retail roles, working in Coles, or working as a checkout operator, or a filler in Woolworths, or any of those, they would not be considered, because these are level 4 occupations. So any occupation level 1, 2, 3, they would be considered. And if you guys have confusion, then obviously there's a link below in this video. You can always click book in a consultation with me. We can have a quick chat, look into everything. Now guys, earnings, that's also very critical. All right, you would need to, when you do your ROI, you would need to do your earnings. You would need to demonstrate that, what your earnings are. Now, what you can include in the earnings is, you can include your wages, you can include your any annual leaves or anything which come for, or you get paid when you are on leave, that's included. You can include penalty rates for the weekends, public holidays, shift loadings, commissions, extra hours you can include. And anything on those lines, or anything which is part of your salary packaging, that could be included. Now, of course, things what you cannot include. Now, mandatory employer superannuation contributions, you cannot include. Earnings from, again, we discussed this earlier, unskilled employment, which is mainly which fall on level 4 occupations. Again, exampling driving, Uber drivers or truckies and stuff like that, or checkout operators, that cannot be included. Now, allowances, bonuses, overtime, scholarships, reimbursements, non-monetary benefits, investment returns, gifts, all those kind of stuff cannot also be included. But again, if you guys are interested, we can always look into it. And there's also Victoria government has also provided a link with a formula where you can actually look into it, all this information, and further I can provide this. Now guys, as I said, if you want to find more information about this particular visa, and if you have concerns, click the link below, book an inquiry, and we can take things further.